In 1964, during my encounter with Ed Parker's American Kenpo practitioners in Oakland, I faced a stark reality: 3.4 seconds versus 1.8 seconds. This wasn't just a loss, it was a wake-up call. Their 60-40 weight distribution let them move forward instantly, no telegraphing. My traditional 50-50 centerline stance, it cost me 0.3 seconds in reaction time. This wasn't about skill. It was a battle of mechanical efficiency, laying bare the flaws in my approach. What shocked me wasn't just the time gap. It was that their imperfect moves by classical standards worked better because of pure mechanical smarts. That night, I didn't just write in my journal. I took measurements. Traditional Wing Chun took 3.4 seconds to close the distance and gain control. Those American guys, just 1.8 seconds. Most martial artists would sit around philosophizing, making excuses instead of finding solutions. Others ditched their training, chasing strength the Western way, punching harder, moving faster. But I found a third path, adapting systematically, using science. I started using high-speed photography, 24 frames per second. I measured everything: angles, time, every little detail. I took the scientific method I learned at Washington University and applied it to fighting, not chemistry. What came out was something right in the middle of Eastern tradition and Western brute force, a way to turn weaknesses into the building blocks of true strength, using hard science, not just ideas. This wasn't something that happened overnight. Years of recording, testing against tougher opponents, measuring results, and tweaking my approach. That's what built this framework. And what I'm sharing isn't feel-good talk. It's a proven system to turn limitations into advantages, step by step. First off, we need to change how we see limitations. Most fighters treat them like problems to fix or obstacles to avoid. But I found a better way. Limitations aren't problems. They're just numbers, parameters to measure. When you measure something, you gain control. This isn't fluffy thinking. It's cold, hard science. I came up with body polygon mapping. I'd stand in front of a grid on the wall, extend my limbs at 15-degree angles while a partner measured distance, force, and speed. In 1966, when I mapped my stance against heavyweight Western boxers, I found I had a 4.5-inch reach disadvantage facing them head-on, but at a 30-degree angle, just 2.3 inches. That wasn't just interesting data, it changed how I fought. Here's the kicker: mapping my limitations actually set me free. When limitations are vague, your mind blows them out of proportion. But when you measure them, they're just numbers to work with. The 5-parameter limitation matrix was my secret tool. I looked at limitations in 5 ways: structural, like height and reach; technical, moves affected by my build; tacticals, when these flaws mattered most; psychological, how I compensated; and strategics, long-term hurdles. Mapping them all showed me that within every weakness, there were hidden strengths. Most fighters only have a rough idea of their flaws. They make equally vague fixes and miss the goldmine inside their limitations. But when you map them precisely, you can turn those flaws into stepping stones. This isn't about accepting defeat. It's about using limitations as the foundation for new techniques. Once you've mapped your limitations, it's time to find the hidden perks. This isn't positive thinking, it's physics. Every limitation creates an advantage that naturally talented fighters never develop because they never had to. I proved this with math. In 1967, I discovered the inverse ratio principle. My shorter arms They could move at a much faster angular velocity when I used the same muscle power. A 6-inch reach disadvantage actually gave me 1.4 times more speed. This led to half-beat timing, a move only possible because of my limitations. I attacked in the gaps where longer, limbed fighters couldn't reach. It wasn't all smooth sailing. My first attempts to adapt Wing Chun trapping against Western boxers flopped. But that failure was a gift. It forced me to dig deeper and find the real advantages in my limitations. That's how I developed rhythmic attacks. When you're at a reach disadvantage, a regular rhythm is easy to predict. So I mixed up the timing, like syncopation in music, and caught opponents off guard. After identifying these advantages, I had to supercharge them. I created the isolation, integration, improvisation protocol. First, isolate the advantage with focused drills. Then blend it with other techniques. Finally, test it under pressure to make it adaptable. I even borrowed from Western fencing drills to boost my intercepting skills. Serious back injury in 1970. Instead of giving up, I trained my non-dominant side and found new advantages. I developed the pendulum step to deal with height disadvantages. It used my lower center of gravity to create better angles, turning a weakness into a strength. Next, we need to put these amplified skills into action. Most fighters develop cool moves but fail to use them in real fights. I created encounter mapping, matching specific situations with the right techniques. I made detailed matrices for each skill with clear triggers, executions, and follow-ups. I adapted Wing Chun trapping to fit Western boxing's chaotic rhythm. Instead of forcing old techniques, I intercepted at weak points in their combinations. Every adaptation went through a 5-stage test, from cooperative practice to full resistance sparring. Failures were crucial. They led to better ideas, like my stop-hit tactics against wrestlers. This framework isn't just for fighting. I used it in filmmaking. With a tiny budget for Way of the Dragon, instead of struggling, I created unique, fixed camera shots that looked dynamic. In teaching, I adapted to Western students' learning styles. In business, I built leverage step by step instead of fighting restrictions. Even my language struggles with English led to a clear, precise teaching style. To make this framework work, you need structure. I used a 3-column system to document the limitation, the adaptation, and the objective results. No room for self-deception. Testing happens in 5 resistance levels, from easy to extreme, and I measured everything. Execution speed, force, angles, down to the smallest detail. This isn't about making do or compensating. It's about seeing limitations as the key to capabilities you could never develop otherwise. Remember, the best adaptation isn't overcoming limitations. It's turning them into your greatest strengths. Apply this framework. Document, measure, refine. Don't just live with your limitations. Transform them into the foundation of your unique power.